Well, hi friends, and welcome back. Spring is just around the corner, and with the days getting warmer and the change in seasons, it's time for me to do an entire wardrobe declutter and to transition my closet from my cool to warm weather clothing. This is always exciting for me because I just love seeing the change in seasons and the new life that spring brings. So my plan for the day is a simple one. We're going to get everything out, decide if there's anything that we want to declutter, and then switch over the clothes in my wardrobe. And this is something that I find just so helpful to do a handful of times a year because it helps keep my wardrobe feeling fresh, and it makes it so that the most seasonally appropriate clothing is the most accessible for me. And I'm excited to get into this, so if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button below and let's get started. So step number one is just to get everything out. That way I can kind of get a better feeling for what I'm working with. So let's go ahead and head into my closet now. We're going to bring all of my clothing out, lay it here on the bed so that we can start going through it. I'm a big believer that just seeing everything that you own in one place really does make the decision-making process so much easier. So let's go. Okay, so right here I've got all of my clothes laid out. I've got dresses and all my hanging clothes here, pants, tops, sweaters, athletic wear, sleepwear, undergarments, and then my off-season storage is right in here. So with all my clothing laid up behind me, what I want to do next is go through each piece of clothing that I have and just to ask myself, do I want to keep this item in my life going forward? Over time, our needs change, our bodies change, our tastes change, and so the clothes that might have served you at one point in time might not still be serving you. So it's important that we go through that process of evaluating, hey, do the items of clothing that I have still serve me? Do I still use them? Do I still love them? And it's that process of decluttering and letting go that really does help us to maintain a continually curated wardrobe and one that grows with us over time. So that's what I want to do right now. I'm going to go through all my clothing, and specifically, I really want to focus on the clothes that I wore from this past season, so my cooler weather clothes. I always find it helpful to focus on the clothing that I've been wearing the most recently because it's really easy for me to just think back and say, okay, when was the last time I wore it? Was it in the past month, 2 months, 3 months, or have I not worn it at all this season? Use is a really important indicator of value, and so if I'm not wearing a piece of clothing, that might be a signal that it's time to let go. So let's go ahead and start going through everything, and we'll work through the piles one by one. Also, a quick side note, I know that decluttering can feel a bit long and boring at times, so a couple of tips to make the process a lot more enjoyable are, number one, find yourself a cozy drink that you can sip on while you're doing it. And then also, pop on something to watch or to listen to while you do it. I'm a big fan of having things like podcasts, audiobooks, or YouTube videos on in the background while I declutter. It makes everything go so much faster, and I find it a lot more enjoyable too. So I've got my tea and a podcast ready, so I'm going to go ahead and start decluttering now. When I finish up, I'll let you know what I've decided to let go of and why. So I just finished going through all my clothes, and now I'm taking a moment to go through my undergarments. Lately, I've been noticing some pairs of socks and underwear that are just wearing out, so I want to take a few moments just to go through and remove the pairs that just aren't quite cutting it anymore. Personally, I find single socks and underwear that have holes in them to be such a nuisance, so I want to go through and just to make sure that I have none of those in here, or at least that we can remove the ones that do. So here's everything that I'm wanting to declutter. We've got two cute little piles. Let's go ahead and walk through them. I think when you're watching someone declutter their possessions, it's one thing for you to know what they're getting rid of, but I think it's really so much more helpful to understand the why behind, okay, why am I deciding to let go of this specific item? So that's what I want to walk through right now is my rationale and my process behind why I'm decluttering these specific things. So first, let's start off with this skirt. I love how it looks. The corduroy is so fun. The color is gorgeous. However, it's really important to me that the clothing that I wear feels effortless. And the handful of times I've worn this skirt out, I felt like I had to adjust it constantly. Proportionally speaking, I have pretty wide hips, and so the skirt was always riding up on me, and it just made it really difficult to wear. So even though I love the way that this looks and it's super flattering when it's sitting exactly right, I am going to declutter it because I just don't like the feeling of having to adjust my clothing constantly when I'm wearing it. Then next, I have 2 pairs of leggings. And while they're both really cute and fun colors, I typically wear leggings most frequently when working out, and these just aren't quite supportive enough for that. They're comfortable for hanging out and lounging around the house, but to be honest, because I can't wear them when I'm working out, I just haven't found myself reaching for them. They're both still in great condition, so I will probably try selling them, but they're just something that I didn't find myself using or loving. Then we've got this little athletic crop top. I think it's really cute, but unfortunately, it doesn't have any kind of built-in bra, so I just don't find it really supportive for working out. And the one time I tried putting a sports bra underneath it, it just looked really funky with the strap setup. Personally, I like to feel nice and supported while I'm working out, and since this really is an athletic top that doesn't have support, I just haven't used it. Then I have this adorable pair of Christmassy pajamas. The print on them is so fun and wintry, and I love the waffle texture of them. However, they just aren't that comfortable. The neckband has this kind of like silver thread, which is completely unnecessary and kind of scratchy built into it. And the hip band just doesn't sit on a good place in my waist, and it just kind of annoys me while I'm trying to sleep. So unfortunately, because of that, they just haven't gotten that much use. If they were really comfortable, I definitely think that I would probably wear them throughout the winter, not just around Christmas, although they are the perfect Christmas Eve pajama. But because I can't really sleep in them that well, they don't get worn, and thus, I just don't think that they deserve a space in my closet going forward. Then next, this sweater is a piece that I really have just about worn out at this point. It has several different stains in various spots that at this point, I just can't get out, and it also has a couple of holes in the sleeves. Here's one of them right there. And this is a sweater that I've had and worn for years. I've used it a lot. So at this point, I really do feel like I've gotten my money's worth out of it, and it's time just to let it go and to move on. Then I've got this t-shirt that I accidentally got a bunch of paint on. And I am going to be decluttering this, but it's not actually going to be leaving my house. So I will be decluttering it from my main wardrobe. However, I do have a small store of clothing that I keep to the side that's pretty worn out, but that I've set aside for use on things like painting, house projects, camping, or basically anything where I need to not have to worry about the clothes that I'm wearing. So that's where this shirt is going to go. We're going to give it new life, just serving a different purpose. And I have another black t-shirt here. This one is just kind of too tight in the armholes, so it just isn't all that comfortable. So it's okay, but there are just other shirts that I prefer wearing over it. And the same thing goes for this wool sweater. It's amazing and super insulating, but the last time I washed it, I think the armholes must have shrank, and so it just feels like very restricting on my arms to the point where it just isn't that comfortable anymore. I don't think it was always like this, but the last time I went to put it on, it caused me enough discomfort to the point where I actually chose to wear something else, and to me at least, that's a sign that if I wasn't going to wear it then, I probably won't in the future. Again, comfort is something that is incredibly important to me when it comes to the clothes that I wear. Okay, then a couple of smaller things. I have some socks and underwear here that are either worn out or don't have a pair. And I will say there probably actually would be more underwear because I noticed a lot of them are on their last legs. However, I just don't have enough underwear to be able to declutter some without buying more. So I'm making a note to myself that I need to buy more underwear. And then once those come in and I have enough stock to be able to let go of the rest, I'll probably go through those again and just replace some of the pairs that have worn out. I don't want to be stuck without enough underwear though, so we're gonna wait a bit on that one. And then the last thing that I want to share, I'm not actually going to be getting rid of today, but I want to make a plan to in the future. I've had these 2 cardigans for the past 5 years at least now, and they are definitely wearing out. I think I actually tried decluttering them in a past video, but I chickened out because I still reach for and wear them, and I haven't found anything else that I like as much. But at this point, they are very much on their last legs. This white one here has at least 3, if not 4 or 5 holes in it, some of them pretty noticeable, and this black one is starting to show wear in a lot of places too. So this is me saying the hunt is on. I want to find replacements for these cardigans that I love just as much. And at that point, I'll go ahead and let go of these. I think that's probably going to be my best solution for being able to let go of these in a way where I'll actually have them leave my wardrobe instead of saying I get rid of them today and then sneaking them back in because I love them and wear them. So if you have any recommendations for some beautiful, comfortable, slouchy cardigans, send them my way. Comment below any ideas you have. I'd love to hear about them because I would love to find some replacements for these soon. All right, well that's everything I'm going to be decluttering and a bit of the why behind each one. Now though, I want to move on to switching over my clothing. So I want to get out all of my spring and summer clothes from my off-season storage and then look through all of my cooler weather clothing and decide what of my sweaters, pants, and things like that I want to put in my off-season storage. And as we do that, what I also want to do is look through my warm weather clothing and figure out if there are any holes that we need to fill in my closet. And if we find any, I'm going to go ahead and write those down so I can work on filling those holes later. So that's the plan now. Let's get to it. Okay, so I just finished putting away most of my sweaters, long sleeve shirts, and a few pairs of pants. But I did still leave out a few because there are definitely some days during the early spring where it is a bit colder out. So I likely will put a few more of those away in the upcoming months because during the summer in North Carolina, you, trust me, don't want to be caught wearing a sweater. But I think for right now, we'll be good with what we have. Now, as I was bringing out my spring and summer clothes, I was able to identify a couple of holes in my wardrobe. So specifically with athletic wear, I really think that I could use at least one more full warm weather athletic outfit. So at least one pair of shorts and maybe some kind of cropped t-shirt. Even in the past couple of weeks, I've noticed that when I go to the gym, it's a lot warmer outside and in the gym as I'm working out. So I think that that will be important just to make sure that I continue to be consistent in going to the gym during the summer months. Then also I could maybe use an extra short-sleeved blouse or two. I tend to wear some kind of like elevated t-shirt out a lot during the summer months. I don't have that many of them, so I think I could maybe use a couple of those. I think that's about it. Maybe I could use one more casual summer dress, but I'm pretty happy with what I have for the most part. I think what I want to do now is basically just live with what I have and from there try to get a better feeling for if there are any other holes that I want to fill. So I'm going to go ahead and write those down and add them to the list of the cardigans and underwear that I want to buy, and then I'll just keep an eye out for any of those items. Okay, now though, it's time for the very last step in this entire process, and that's putting everything back where it belongs. So we're going to put everything here back in the closet. So I just finished putting everything back and here's how I've got it organized. I've got all of my hanging clothing here, undergarments, socks, and underwear up here, my off-season storage, and then in these hanging drawers I've got pants, shorts, t-shirts, sweaters. I've only got two there, and then I'm also wearing one here. And then I've just got athletic wear and sleepwear at the bottom. All right, well that's it. We did it. My closet is now ready for spring and it honestly just feels so much more streamlined and organized. And I'm really excited too to be able to bring out some of the pieces that I've had tucked away for the past few months. That's another huge benefit to putting away your off-season clothes is when you finally bring those clothes back out again, it feels like you have a whole new wardrobe to work with, which is so huge, especially if you try to maintain a more minimal wardrobe. Now though, I would love to know, have you recently decluttered your wardrobe or done a closet switchover, and how did that go? Was there anything you decided to let go of? Be sure to let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear about it. That's everything I've got for you in today's video. As always though, make sure to give this video a like if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you haven't already for more simple and intentional living videos coming at you twice a week. And then one last thing, I will be listing some of the items that I'm decluttering today that are in good condition on my Poshmark. So if there is anything that you saw that you thought I might want to own that, make sure that you're following me on Instagram because I'll post the link to my Poshmark there and let you guys know when everything is up. And I'll just have that linked up in the description box for you, so be sure to check that out. I think that's everything, but thank you all so much for watching and for coming along with me today as we decluttered my closet. I hope that you have an amazing day wherever you are, and I'll see you in the next one.